Hey, what's up, beautiful people? We are here today to talk about the full moon in Virgo at 19 degrees. Man, we're living in very intense times, guys. And these full moons, these aspects in astrology are going to be getting stronger and stronger and bigger throughout the year. Okay. Now, this year has already kicked off with a bang, right? With the Saturn-Pluto conjunction and the eclipses at the beginning of the year. This Mercury retrograde in Pisces has been intense. We're coming to the very end of this Mercury retrograde. And this today, March 9th, happens to be the very last day. So that means Mercury is stationed to go direct at 28 degrees of Aquarius. All right. So at the same time, there are so many powerful aspects, conjunctions going on here. And with all the energy in Capricorn as well, just when you think it can't get any more intense, it's going to get more intense. And it's going to keep getting more intense and keep getting more intense on a macro and a micro level. And so if you're in a place where you're thinking, man, when is this shit going to end? When can I get back to me living my life? When are things going to even out or smooth out? I got a surprise for you. It ain't going to happen. Okay, so these aspects, this year is calling us to stand up and step up into our power. All right? It's not asking us, it's requiring us. Okay? Now, when we're going through a massive shift like this, it's like we're going through a collective Saturn return right now. Saturn return is always about reflecting over your life and seeing, okay, am I on my soul's mission, my soul's path? Or am I following my ego? Am I following my, desires? Am I numbing it out? Am I just trying, am I spiritually bypassing life? If I am, how am I doing that? And this full moon in particular is going to identify how we distract ourselves, how we bypass our own spiritual growth. What kind of things are coming up that we feel like we can't handle, that quite frankly, we have to. We will. We are. Okay? And so that's sort of like this Sun Neptune conjunction here. Let me go ahead and bring up the chart. And we're going to look at these aspects in depth because the universe is screaming at us, teaching us right now. Okay? So what does Virgo represent? Virgo represents purification. It represents, Virgo was the original virgin, right? Wiping the slate clean. Now this is energetically, all right? So as far as physically or in our 3D reality, Virgo represents structure. It represents organization. It represents like having a plan of action, all right? It's earth, it's grounded, it's, we're taking this energy that we need to go into the future with, and we're establishing a structure. So there's these massive purge, because a full moon is endings, right? Endings and then new beginnings. Now, with these massive amount of conjunctions as well going on, and the speed at which some of these placements are moving, like the nodes are also shifting in 2 days from now. All right, from 5 degrees to 4 degrees, coming closer to this lesson of the nodal axis of Capricorn and Cancer. So the last 5 degrees is usually the most intense. All right, and it seems to me that that the nodes are almost speeding up, and it also seems like in conjunction with that, doesn't it feel like time speeding up? We are experiencing time differently because we are shifting timelines, people. We are raising our vibration very, very fast. But as that goes, out comes all the demons, out comes all the darkness, out comes all the shit that we don't want to deal with and see. And when it comes out in the collective, then we all feel it because we all have to purge it. I'm similar to sitting in an ayahuasca ceremony, right? When you're sitting in an ayahuasca ceremony and someone there has some really deep, dark shit that they're purging, it gets released into the consciousness of everyone because we're all connected in our minds, in our conscious together. And then we all have to work together to purge it. And it's similar to what's going on now on a much deeper subconscious level. All right, so all this deep, dark stuff is coming out and we're all feeling it. And that's why more and more people are waking up, because quite frankly, we need more people to wake up so that we can get some more help. It's like all these first wave light workers are doing all this work for humanity. And it's not like something that we chose or didn't choose. Like, we were chosen. And this is something that we came into this incarnation to do. It was I guess you could say our souls chose it for us before we came into this incarnation. All right. We also have Saturn about to go into 29 degrees, and I know you can feel that Saturnian energy. Okay, like 29 degrees of any sign is super, super crazy intense. It's like 10 times stronger. Looking at it saying, hey, did you learn the lesson of this sign? It was Saturn sort of pretty much being the foundation of all the aspects going on around here. Like, this is saying, like, we're going to be purging out all these things that are keeping us held back. And if we hold on to it, if we don't let go, if we keep fighting the process, it will bring us down. And that's where all this fear-mongering shit is coming into effect. The macrocosm, the world that we live in, the third dimensional control dynamics, which is Saturn, right? They're trying to control humanity. They're trying to control the population. So all this fear-mongering stuff that's going on, right? Energetically speaking, now it's getting to 29 degrees. It's saying, hey, look, we want you to fall in line with the way that we say that things need to be. So you can be a sheeple, right? And just go march on down the road and be a sheeple and allow these people to control your mind and control your life. It takes rebellion. It takes individuation. It takes authenticity. It takes courage and faith and bravery to step into your own power, to be able to purge and move through all this really intense, dense energy, to take a super brutally honest look at yourself. I am no exception. We are all facing this. We're all going through this. Sun conjunct Neptune. Neptune sucks out or sort of magnetizes, or like takes all the energy from whatever is conjunct. It's taking the energy from the sun and it's making it into this dreamland, like this like dreamscape, right? So, if you have placements in Neptune, if you have a lot of water in your chart, you might like this. This might be good, but it can also make you quite delusional. This is like illusion and delusion. This is escapism and addiction. This is the deep, dark unknown that we don't really want to look at, okay? This is ancestral trauma coming up. And with the moon, whenever we have, like the moon represents our emotional state in relationship to everything else around us, right? So the moon being in Virgo means that these things, these planets that are opposed to it, Neptune, the sun, Black Moon Lilith, and even Chiron, and I'd say even, Mercury, they're all reflected in our reality, in our outside world, that are being a mirror reflection for us in our life. Okay. So this is calling on us to purge and let go of this stuff that is not allowing us to structure our lives the way that we want it to. And sometimes when all this stuff comes up, it'll shut you down, right? Like what my friend, good friend Victor Odo talks about, spiritual surgery, right? We are being worked through to let go of all this deep unknown stuff. Now, there's still a lot of stuff, a lot of work being done on the unconscious and subconscious planes, right? And this is sort of like another wave of throwing these things in our face in life to see, hey, like, okay, where are we doing the work? Where are we not doing the work? Okay, like, are we really doing what is right for us? We have Uranus in Venus conjunct in Taurus, and it's sextile the North Node and trine the South Node. So this is beautiful for understanding a new way, a new level, a new perception on our relationship to relationships and our relationship to money, our relationship to our five senses, awarenesses, aha moments, epiphanies coming up and coming in that are going to ground us in to understanding and realizing what we need to do to walk into our future and what we need to do to let go of what no longer serves us. And now that we have Mars, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn all between 15 and 29 degrees of Capricorn. This is all in the second half. Mostly, 3 planets alone are in the third decan. So this is the mastery of Capricorn. This is all the last deepest part of the scaffolding of our consciousness that is being rewritten, redistributed, reframed, so that we can take it forward in this new direction. We may even, I've been personally seeing a lot of people lately that have been purging and processing, like ancestral trauma, things coming up, from our parents and our parents' parents, that, seeing what they did and understanding, what they did and how it's all of a sudden just kind of shows up in our consciousness, right? Like all of a sudden you're 40, 45 years old and you look around, you're like, holy shit, I became my father, or I became my mother, or I became my grandfather, or, one of my parents. Now, if they did great things, then that's awesome if you're taking after them, right? But if they didn't, which is more like 80 to 90% of the population, this is a real gut reality check. Like, okay, it's not just as easy as saying, hey, we need to look at this and overcome it. We have to dive deep experientially into it and understand, okay, I'm missing something here. So what am I doing to replay this ancestral mistake, if you will? Because growing up, we saw them do it. We promised ourselves that we wouldn't do it, so we try to go in the other direction. But somehow it always seems to come around. And this is putting a spotlight on, like, all right, this is what you need to do to change that, to structure your life in a new way, structure it emotionally, structure it physically, structure it energetically, to make sure that we do not make these same mistakes. And with Mercury being stationed to go direct in Aquarius, this is just like, this communication is just bam, being thrown in our face, and it's a fixed air energy. So we're very cerebral about this, while we are also, we're super cerebral, while we are also swimming around in this like sort of midway world between the subconscious and the conscious mind. It's almost like it's kind of a trippy, semi-psychedelic energy. Like a lot of really weird shit is going on here, right? And we have Chiron square the nodes during this process. Chiron square the nodes is saying, hey, this is your deepest vulnerability that, we have to look at and we have to process. Do you really want to break the cycle? Do you really want to step into the life that you want to live? Then how are you thinking that is out of alignment? What are you doing? Like, this is taking a real, like, eating some humble pie, dude. Eating some serious humble pie. It's no joke. And we have, of course, Uranus and Venus semi-sextile to Chiron as well. And also, and also square over to Pluto and Jupiter. Man. Well, no, I'd say it's square over to Saturn. Let's take a closer look, because that's so close. Okay, so yes, so we have Uranus and Venus square over to Saturn right now. Now you could also put Pluto in the mix there, because that energy, I think, spreads far and wide. But so we kind of barely just got past the Venus square Pluto, and now we're experiencing the Venus square Saturn. So that is just like, there's something coming up in regards to our relationships. Saturn rules the third dimensional world, and Venus is all about our relationships. So, and with Uranus right there too, this is a shock to the system, basically. Like what are you doing? You might have someone come back, of course, with Mercury still technically in retrograde, either memories coming back, or this could be having dreams of the past, like some deep nostalgia. All right. And, already going past Jupiter and Pluto, You know, everything, all this stuff is basically, all of our desires are being put under a microscope. And on this microscope, it's like the universe saying, look at it. And part of us might be like, I don't want to look at it. No, don't make me look. But then a part of us is like, look, we know that we need to look. We have to. It's just part of the process. So take a look. Because while we have the opportunity to look, you know, if we don't take that opportunity, then we're going to miss it. And yeah, it could be painful and it could, you know, suck, and you might want to run away from it, or, you know, like you might get shut down for a little while to have to deal with it and go through it. But hey, this is going to help purify the experience and process. Like, look, this entire year is going to be a purge, awaken, embody, breakdown, purge, awaken, embody, so on and so forth, over and over and over again. There is so many intense aspects. I mean, we're going to have Jupiter conjunct Pluto 3 times this year. But later on this month, we're going to have Mars conjunct Jupiter and Pluto and Saturn. These aspects are no fucking joke. Life-changing. And when I say life-changing, of course, you know, everybody wants to think, yeah, yay, ooh, going to change my life. It's awesome, exciting. But going through the life-changing process is not fucking fun. It is not. All right? This is the time where the deep work, like this is going through like Navy SEAL training. Like, this is hell year in the grand scheme of things. You know, like we're just going to keep getting hit and hit and hit. And the more we do the work, the more efficient we will get at processing and moving through the hits. Okay? But if we keep making the same mistake, we're manifesting things faster and faster as we raise our vibration. And if we don't keep up with the work, we are going to get sicker, and we're going to fall victim to this fear, because then the fear-based stuff will come up when we don't do the work as well, because deep down we know that we're not going in the right direction. And we are getting fed from the outside, from all angles right now, all this fear-mongering bullshit, that when you're fearing the change within yourself, that outside fear-mongering is going to build on top of that, and you're going to get sucked in like a whirlwind. And there's only so much that you'll be able to avoid before you get fully sucked in, and then you're going to be just like a landslide sucked down that road. So I cannot stress this enough. We have to allow this energy to teach us and to facilitate the restructuring of our lives, so that we face and feel this energy, and we stop lying to ourselves. We stop kidding ourselves. We take care of ourselves physically, emotionally, energetically, and stand in our truth. And standing in our truth right now will not be easy, because the more you stand in your truth, the more people you're going to piss off. And right now, people are just hair triggers all over the place, especially when it comes to, like, you know, healthcare or the sick care system or vaccines or the opioid crisis, or, you know, prescription medication, big pharma, you know, like poverty, you know, all these things that are going on all over the world. All right. 5G, EMF, you name it. Okay. Whatever it is that you believe in, there's going to be somebody with an opposing belief system, and we all have to stand up in our truth. And that is how we're going to come together, because we're going to resonate with people that stand in the same truth that we do. And these belief systems are becoming solidified. So as you solidify your own truth, if you're suppressing it, then you're going to start to magnetize towards other people that are suppressing it. See where this is going? Okay. And then you do that. Now you're comfortably stuck in this victim or sabotaging mentality. And then you're going to get so sucked into it that you're not going to see it. And all the marketing and all the energetic vampires and energetic control systems out there in the world are going to lock on to your vibration, and they're going and then you're not going to see it. Right now we're able to see it. The veil is lifted. Okay? And with these aspects, it's allowing us to see it, but it's going to be painful to look at. It's like you broke your leg, and now you have to you fractured your leg, and now you're going to put the bone back in, right? But if you don't, then you're going to have to amputate the leg. Do you really want to amputate the leg when you're going to have to suffer, you know, maybe a couple days of pain and, you know, a really intense few minutes to push that bone back in there? Just fucking do it, dude. Just do it. Get it done. Look at your shit. We have to rise up. We have to stand up. I cannot stress this enough. We are in changing times. And I mean, this is like the second coming of the 60s, right? In the 60s, that was when Saturn and Pluto were opposed to each other, right? And I believe we also had Chiron and Uranus aspecting each other as well. But that came, but they didn't fully follow through with it. But it still had a massive impact. We still remember it, 30, 50, 60 years later. Now, things have come to a whole different level, okay? And we are having a new spiritual revolution, if you will. But this is where we have to succeed where they failed back in the 60s. All right, it is time to rise up and be intelligent about it, and do our work, make the shit count. Because come next year, well, really 2023, when Pluto moves into Aquarius, that's when things are going to be completely solidified. But this year is the molding ground, the testing ground. So this full moon in particular is all about really taking a deep look and being able to take this step in order to be able to be ready for the next step, okay? For restructuring and remodeling our lives. So let's take a look at the numerology of this full moon. It's at 19 degrees of Virgo. We have a fire-breathing dragon the size of a mouse. Big things and little things trade places. Big things become off-screen, too demanding and formidable, oppressive. Little things become unquenchably full of life, and they're to be entered upon with passionate conviction. Little things proliferate wildly. Soon they are everywhere, clamoring, yearning, asking for attention and energy. Each little thing grows very big. Incarnation, embodiment. Coming to the brink of immense commitment into the earth, you have a craft, a fine touch of beholding, witnessing, and responding to each facet of life unto itself. The most rigorous of paths, to be there into the details. Will and mind become one, a discipline, a harnessing that is magnificent and very hard to accomplish. Yet you recognize that this is what remains to be done to light up the jewels of life and let them arise everywhere. So this says to me, the things that we didn't think were a big deal are coming to light to like under a microscope to identify and shine and see that, hey, maybe these things that I wasn't paying attention to, might want to look at it. I might want to pay attention to it because even the things that are in the background are trying to teach us something, right? Little things become unquenchably full of life and they're to be entered upon with passionate conviction. Little things proliferate wildly. That means that, going down these rabbit holes that you didn't even expect to go down to are like, wow, okay, I didn't expect to feel that from this. I didn't expect for this to happen, or I didn't expect to, to be learning this or having this experience, but, case in point, right? Like this last week or so for me, has been intense. I've been feeling it too, just like you guys, right? And I have a hard time relaxing. I like to go, make shit happen. I like to build my business and get out there and give content to you guys, right? But I've been feeling like a little crappy. So when I feel crappy, my brain feels foggy. Now before, I would have not made this video, right? But because I know that, even if I'm not at my prime, even if I'm not at my best, I still have to come out in the best way that I can with as much authenticity as possible for me, to be consistent and to know that, okay, when I'm feeling like this, I can still come out with this content and I can still push through it in this way. Now, I'm not pushing through it by like I take time off from the gym. I go do yoga instead. I go meditate. I try to ground myself and clear my energy, because when I feel off like this, exercising, like lifting weights, it doesn't make me feel grounded. It actually makes me feel more ungrounded. Okay, I get like lightheaded and dizzy and stuff like that. So I have to clear myself and center my mind. And it comes in waves, and it's almost like, well, specifically with doing what I do, like when I get out there, a part of me likes to get that feedback, that gratification from the outside world, from you guys. But I cannot get attached to that. And the more I do, the more feedback I get. It feels good, but I have to constantly remind myself, okay, I do this for me, and I'm doing this, to share my message with the world, but I cannot become attached to the validation or the external response. And the bigger you go, the more you do, okay, the stronger that feeling can get. And the more I have to work on myself to be able to step into that without getting attached to it. And that's with relationships, that's with money, that's with life purpose, that's with anything and everything that's going on in your life, okay? Coming to the brink of immense commitment into the earth, you have a craft, a fine touch of beholding, witnessing, and responding to each facet of life unto itself. And it's the little things like this, right? Like for me, getting up when I'm not feeling very good, I'm not feeling in my zone, and getting out there and sending my message out anyways, that's what we all have to do, right? When we're feeling beat down, when we're feeling like we're going through a growth spurt and we may not be at our best, still push through. And if anything, you're pushing through to learn the lesson that's on the other side. Okay, you have to push through with no expectation. Okay, and feel the emotion going through it. This is how we go through triggers. Okay, when something triggers you, like say for example, you need to have a conversation with someone, especially with Uranus conjunct Venus here, square over to Saturn, that is having a difficult conversation and relationship, and you don't want to have it. All right. But this aspect is saying like, hey, look, you know, Chiron vulnerability, if you want to move into your future, you need to have this conversation. So you need to face this feeling within yourself and suck it up. It may not go smooth. You don't know what's going to happen. You're not going to like what it feels like, but you have to do it for you to grow, to stand in your truth. Okay. Being passive aggressive, being avoidant. These are all ways that we keep ourselves from growing. So stop avoiding life. We must stop avoiding the things that don't feel good and face them. And then once we do face them, yeah, it may not have gone any way that we maybe want to go, but you know what? After you're done, you're going to learn the lesson. You're going to get some clarity, and that's going to free up some of this dense energy that is bogging you down. And when you're going through it, you might feel like terrible. You might almost want to puke, right? I've been in that place where you need to do something, but it's so, the fear or the apprehension is so intense. You just want to, like, you quiver at your knees, you know, like you buckle, you fall to the ground. Fear, yeah, false evidence appearing real, but the shit is real when you believe it. And the more you believe it, the more you need to face it. Okay, this is so very important, you know, and if you do face it, when you do face it, you will be amazed at how much strength and how much confidence you gain. That, okay, you know what? I can do it. Maybe it wasn't graceful, but I can, and I did, and I can do it again. And you know what? It never gets easier, but you will get stronger, and your self-confidence will get better. Okay? So that is my message to you guys for today. It is 2:00 in the morning, and I was recording astrology videos all day for clients, and after every one, I had to meditate. I had to clear my mind. I had to listen to binaural beats. I had to like take a walk and stretch, and you know, just to get my mind back into the zone. So it's taken me 2 to 3 times as long as it normally does, because normally I can just bang them out. All right. But I also realized that if I didn't do this now, that I wouldn't get it out before the full moon. And I want to make sure that I get the content out to you guys no matter what. And I made a promise to myself to do a certain number of videos. And sometimes it's easy. I bang them out easy, and then I do extra. But sometimes it's tough. But we have to structure that foundation of what we promise ourselves so that we can grow, and that we cannot deviate on that structure that we promised ourselves. Because if you slack on what you promised yourself to do, then you can slack everywhere else, and that causes, you know, leaks in the ship. We don't want leaks in the ship, guys. The leaks in the ship come from the sun conjunct Neptune in Pisces. The full moon in Virgo is looking at the leaks and saying, hey, we need to plug this, we need to plug that. And how do we do it? We face these triggers, we go into them, we feel it, and we move through it. And then we learn, and we let go of any expectation of how we're going to feel, what's going to happen, the external circumstance of what's going on, okay? So important. Step into who you are and what you know that you need to do authentically. And it's those little steps. You don't get the instant gratification. You don't get the reward immediately, but it comes over time with the behavior and the practice of creating this new system of your life. All right, guys. So thank you very much for listening and tuning in. Please check out my Instagram. I do a daily energy report there. And thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see all you beautiful people on the next video. Peace out.